Welcome back to Lucky Chipmunk. Hype is everything in the video game world. Video game publishers spent, in 2020, around $4 billion on advertising for their titles, and this number is forecasted to reach $4.8 billion by 2024. However, if your game is an unfinished, butchered mess, then it tends to turn fans away from the game, and leave a sour taste in their mouth. Here are some of the worst video game flops in gaming history. 1. Duke Nukem Forever. If you grew up in the 90s, then you've heard of Duke Nukem, and you know they haven't released a game for quite some time since then. Well, after a 10-year drought, the Duke Nukem franchise had another title ready to release. Duke Nukem Forever. Duke Nukem Forever was one of the largest overhyped titles ever to see the light of day. After all, fans had waited 10 years. But the game was a total disaster on release in 2011, and fans were devastated by the poor quality gameplay, graphics, and dialogue. It seems the damage has been done for the franchise, and it is said that there is no plans to ever resurrect the Duke Nukem name. Rest in peace, Duke Nukem. 2. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Arguably the most anticipated fighting game of 2017 was Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Unsurprisingly, the butchered title copped a bad rap from reviewers, stating that the game was just boring and drab. It just didn't meet the expectations set by its predecessors. Not living up to expectations set by previous titles, the game flopped and, again, the title tarnished the brand's name. There is another title being developed as of right now, but we'll see if it will live up to the Marvel vs. Capcom name. 3. Final Fantasy XV. You'd think, after this many titles, the guys over at Square Enix would have this sorted out by now, but it seems this isn't the case. As if Final Fantasy XIV wasn't bad enough, 15 takes the cake. After years of waiting, fans were not impressed when they finally got their hands on the game in 2016. Final Fantasy XV was just another overhyped title by Square Enix. The game was lackluster at best due to its poor driving mechanics, camera, and boring story that left the player with too many unanswered questions, just to name a few. 4. Spore. Who doesn't want to play God while simultaneously destroying him by turning evolution into a game? Sounds promising, right? Originally titled Sim Everything, Spore was meant to be an intricate and deep simulation game that billed itself as your own personal universe in a box. Unfortunately, the game actually boiled down to a series of loosely related mini-games, and never really evolved past that. Got any game flops you'd like to add to this list? Please leave a comment down below and let us know. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to be notified on all our new videos. 5. Watch Dogs. Touted as being the GTA for the new generation, Watch Dogs was set to blow everyone's minds. The developers claimed that it would be like no open-world game before it, featuring full control of Chicago, distinct NPCs, a realistic hacking mechanism, and a totally new game engine. The game's showing at E3 excited prospective players even more, but when the game was released, it proved immensely disappointing. The gameplay was standard open-world stuff, and the hacking was reduced to a simple button press. While it certainly wasn't a bad game, it turned out to be just another GTA clone with a fresh coat of paint. 6. Aliens, Colonial Marines. Set in the actual Alien universe, Colonial Marines was set to be the official sequel to the 80s classic, complete with story tie-ins, meticulously detailed and recreated settings from Aliens, and even the voices of Michael Biehn and Lance Henriksen, reprising their career-defining roles. We don't know what's scarier, fighting a real alien, or how this game turned out. It looked downright ugly. Especially for a AAA release, it lacked any sort of the tension or badass gun-toting heroics found in the movies, and the AI was so laughably dumb that the game became an unintentional comedy in the process. It was a disaster through and through. 7. Mighty Number 9, considered a spiritual successor to the Mega Man series, Mighty No. 9 Inches received widespread attention before any gameplay was even shown, and even made its $900,000 Kickstarter goal in a mere 2 days. The development process was even detailed in a documentary, and fans' input was occasionally considered through opinion polls. However, after being delayed multiple times, many backers were disappointed by the game's visuals looking drastically worse than what was originally promised, while those who could look past the downgrade were let down by the game's underwhelming levels and frequent frame rate drops. Safe to say, this was not the mighty Mega Man follow-up we were promised. 8. Homefront. Following a resistance movement fighting against a unified Korean occupation in the United States, Homefront was set to be a great game with an intriguing story. THQ poured so much money into Homefront's marketing campaign hoping it'd be the next Call of Duty, featuring an army parade at E3, bringing on Hollywood screenwriter John Milius, who wrote and directed Red Dawn, and released thousands of red balloons over San Francisco to promote the title. The game was set to be the next great military shooter, but a staggeringly short campaign and a bland multiplayer component ruined any shot of that happening. Fans were left reeling by the game and its lack of cohesion, and THQ's stock dropped 26% following Homefront's release, forcing them to close Chaos Studios. 9. Enter the Matrix. When talking about subjects for an MMO, what holds more promise than entering the Matrix? Produced by the Wachowski brothers and released when we still loved the series, it was filled with glitches, awkward controls, and bland environments. More importantly, you couldn't play as the One or his friends. Instead, you took on a side story that resembled a poor man's Max Payne. Oh yes, spoon or no spoon, those wheels are square. 10. Cyberpunk 2077. This one tops the list for sure. Only being released a week or so ago from when this video was uploaded, Cyberpunk 2077 has been a complete and utter failure. Overhyped by years of teasers and pushed back release dates, it was estimated to sell over 15 million copies upon its release. Unfortunately for anyone who bought the game, they were most likely extremely disappointed in it. The game had huge problems. It suffered from poor game mechanics, glitches, low frame rates, and blurry textures, just to name a few. Although the storyline is not bad, the rest of the game was just butchered together, and now, publishers CD Projekt are paying for it. Even after a quick dash to patch the game and fix some of these problems, it wasn't enough for Sony. As of the 18th of December 2020, Cyberpunk 2077 has been removed from the Sony PlayStation Online store due to the game being too buggy to even play, and offered refunds to everyone that had purchased it. For CD Projekt, this will probably be the end of Cyberpunk. Nobody knows at this stage if they can bring back the hype after fixing the title. That was the 10 worst video game flops in gaming history. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.